Hello guys, long time no see. Yesterday was the 6th of September and that was my 10-month steroid free. In the grand scheme of things, there is nothing for me to complain about. The only thing is, this month I felt very, a bit meh. And the weird thing is I filmed loads of things in August and July, but have I got around to editing them? No. I've got about 3 videos sitting on my laptop and I just haven't had the, it's not even about the time, I've had the time, I just don't have the energy to do them. I'm sure everyone gets like that sometimes. You just have a couple of days, weeks where you're just really not in the mood for anything. So it was a bit of a struggle to get in front of the camera for this video. As you know, I normally film these things like a week before my monoversaries. That way I can edit them and try to get them out on time. Today is the day after. I've never done that. Never. I'm just not in the mood. But there have been some good things that have happened in the last month. So it's not that I'm upset about anything or anything like that. It's just how I feel. Just feel a bit meh. One of the first things that happened is that my face was in the Daily Mail. And if you guys don't live in the UK, the Daily Mail is a newspaper that we have. My face was in it. Not only this face, but my red face, my swollen face, my shedding face, my TSW face was on the internet in the news. So if I go all the way back to April of this year, I was asked to be a eczema expert on a panel. And they just asked us to give our opinions on what we would want to see from future cosmetics for sensitive skin. And on this panel there were 3 people. There was me, and then sitting next to me there was a beauty journalist called Judy, and then there was another guy who I've completely forgotten his name, really sorry, but he writes for a lot of magazines and research. He knew a lot of his science when it came to cosmetics. These 2 have these massive credentials, you know, they write for a magazine, they've written for newspapers, and I'm just like, yeah, I just have eczema and I make a couple videos. Because at the time I was still in the thick of my TSW journey. I think some of the ideas we put forward were like, can you please stop putting alcohol in stuff for sensitive skin? It doesn't make any sense. You put it on and you're like, wow, this stuff burns and this stings and it smells so strong. How could this ever be marketed for sensitive skin? It's a no-brainer. It hurts. Judy, sitting next to me, she is very, very sensitive. Perfumes or added scents, that is her trigger. So she was asking for sensitive skin products that have no smells. You don't need your cream to smell nice. It's not necessary. When I have a cream, I want to know that it will moisturize me and keep me moisturized. Not that it'll make me smell good. That's just a bonus. That's a luxury, but that's not the essence of the cream, is it? I think she said something like, can you stop making sensitive skin products look so clinical? Skin products that were for eczema-prone skin, sensitive skin. Why do they all have this white packaging? Like a boring white clinical packaging with maybe a blue label that says sensitive on it. But where's the luxury? Where's the glamour? Where's the excitement of opening a new cream and it just looks beautiful? We don't have that option. So I'm glad she mentioned that. Anyway, I'm getting off track again. So basically, when we left that panel talk, we swapped each other's Instagrams, and it wasn't until July, so about 3 months later, she messaged me on Instagram and said, hi Zainab, how's your skin doing? I'm writing a piece for my magazine, Get the Gloss, and would it be okay if I interviewed you for the magazine? Now, I'm never going to say no. I'm always going to answer people's questions about eczema and TSW. I still think people are very misinformed about this. People still think that what I went through was just really bad eczema, and it's not. It goes way deeper than that. She emailed me some questions, probably about 10 questions, and I think I sent her my replies the same night. So in the morning, she was like, thank you for your answers. I'm going to run this ASAP. And I think within like 2 days, it was on the Get the Gloss website. And then a few weeks later, she messaged me again, and she was like, by the way, sometimes the Daily Mail runs some of our articles. Would you give permission for the article that I did with you to go on the Daily Mail? And again, my mission is to spread awareness. So the minute she said Daily Mail, I was like, yes, you can. 20 minutes later, someone wrote on my Facebook, on my wall, and they were like, oh my God, I just saw you on the Daily Mail. And I was like, already? I was expecting for it to be like 2-3 days, maybe a week, not 20 minutes. I just went onto Google, Googled my name and put in Daily Mail, and there it was. The article was there, and the first picture you see is of my bright red face, and it was like, wow, this is really out there. People were messaging me on Instagram, they were DMing me, they were Facebooking me. I just read your article and I figured out what's wrong with me, and I'm like, wow, it's still so unknown. It was like a couple of days later, after the article had went live, I got a Facebook message from a girl called Cassandra. And hello Cassandra, I know you're probably watching this video. And she basically said that her friend had sent her the article, and like a bit of a light bulb kind of went off in her head as well. And then she just dropped in there, it would be really nice to like meet up with you and talk over lunch. And we met up in King's Cross. I think we stayed there for like 4 hours, 4.5 hours. And she's a lovely girl. I found out she's Ghanaian as well, which is pretty cool because I'm Ghanaian too. And she's 31. She's been using just over 20 years, so we're kind of in the same boat. And it was just such a nice talk. It was nice to talk to someone, a female with darker skin, around the same age as me, and we're thinking of the same problems, you know, the same stuff that I spoke about before: having kids, relationships, how you feel about yourself, and having to meet new people. And it's just such a struggle, an added stress to your life, you know. Yeah, I just remember talking to her, and she just could not stop staring at my hands, because I told her that I had very, very bad eczema for about 10 years. From when I was born to about 10, my eczema was awful on my hands. Like, you know, and I just want to reiterate to everyone, scars do heal. If my hands could heal, I'm telling you, everyone can heal. Once the eczema has calmed down and it's not active anymore, scars do fade. I'll put my life on that, just because of how bad my skin was. Another thing that we talked about, and it was funny that I've only realised this now, I've been on steroids since I was 6 months old, and I stopped when I was 28. The entirety of my life, I've been on steroid creams. How crazy is it to say that I don't know what I'm like without steroids? I said to her, lately I'm very irritable. At the beginning, like when I was going through withdrawal, I obviously put it down to, well, it's obviously because your face looks crazy and you're upset about how you look and how painful it is, and you're constantly thinking, is this ever going to end? It's stress, it's anxiety, it's just not liking the person that you've become in the mirror. So I put it down to that. You know, I would cry a lot, I'd just be in a mood, I didn't want to leave the house. I totally get that. But since my skin on my face has healed, from around like May, June, I haven't had those feelings. Like, I don't look in the mirror and I'm not upset about how my skin looks. In fact, I think my skin looks 10 times better than it ever has been on steroids. So it was a bit weird to me that lately, maybe the last month, 2 months, why am I so irritable? Why am I still so down when my skin is so much better? She looked at me and she goes, maybe it's just the fact that your body has no steroids in it. Maybe your skin's fine, but like deep down, your system is still craving these steroids. And I just thought, that's insane. I actually don't know my body without steroids. I've always been on them. So I said to her something like, well, I hope this isn't my actual personality, because this is not right. Is there a chance that they have an effect on your emotions, not just your physical? Because whenever we talk about TSW, we're talking about how your skin is without the steroids, and it flares up. It's all physical. And anything emotional that we feel is due to the physical change. Like, we become anxious and upset and withdrawn because we look so bad. What if the anxiety is literally just your body still withdrawing from these drugs that you've put in your body for 10, 15, 20 years? Me, 28 years, which is like a good 98% of my life. So I'm hoping that this mood will pass and it really is the steroids and not just the real me coming out, because it's not nice, and it's not nice to feel so on edge all the time. So I'm sorry if I've snapped at anyone. I'm sorry. This might be a bit TMI for some people, but I've cut out the steroids in my body, and obviously it had a massive impact on my skin and my well-being and my mental state, whatever. I've thought about just stopping all medication, and I don't know if I should talk about this. I just want to mention to women out there, I am also on the pill, because a lot of people have messaged me saying, does your eczema get worse like a couple days before your period, or when you're on your period or after? And I'm like, I can't really tell you that, because my periods are not a natural one. My cycle is artificial, we'll just put it that way. Just a little backstory. I initially went on the pill when I was about 17 because I had the worst periods. Like, I remember when I was in school, I used to have to skip the first day of my period every time. But there were times when I'd get to school, I'd have like minor cramps, lunchtime, that's it, full-blown cramps, and I'd be in tears. There were times when I'd tell the teacher, can I please go to the bathroom? And they'd be like, no. You know, school is just a bit weird, and they're like, why don't you go at break time? Because it doesn't work like that. But there was one time, one of my friends had to literally carry me out of a lesson and put me in the nurse's office because I was so hunched over. I could not walk. It was so painful. I was vomiting a lot every like first day of my period, and it would take a day for me to recover. I would vomit. There were times where I would pass out in the bathroom with my head literally in the toilet bowl, because I'd be vomiting so much, and then I'd just exhaust myself. It wasn't until I was about 17, so about five-ish years after I started my periods, did someone tell me, it was a nurse, maybe you should try going on the pill. And I'm telling you, the first period after starting the pill, I was like, this is amazing. I could go to college and not have to skip days. I never vomited anymore. The cramps were still there, but it was so bearable. So it was just like, it was like a miracle for me anyway. So you can understand why I am hesitant to stop the pill, because I need it to function, pretty much. But at the same time, because I've been on it for so long, now I'm just paranoid about all medication. I'm like, should I still be on this? And have I been on it too long? Is it bad for me? If I stop, will I have even worse periods? Or it could be the complete opposite. I could stop, and because I'm older, my body may have settled and my periods might not even be that bad. So after that talk with Cassandra, basically I've had a lot of thoughts. Just a lot of thoughts about medicine in general, and like, do I want to still be on it? I know a lot of you females out there are on the pill because it's convenient, it's free for most of us. It doesn't involve any contraptions like the implant or the coil, nothing like that. And you know, it's one of the easiest forms of contraception. But right now, I'm just like, what do I do? Like, I'm steroid free. I'm like halfway there to being completely drug free. Should I take the plunge? But then obviously it opens a whole host of other questions, and that is something that I'll have to cross the bridge when I come to it, if that makes sense. And speaking of the pill, I went to the nurse to get some more pills, and obviously they take your blood pressure and your weight and all that stuff. So she put the cuff around my arm. She was like, oh, that must be really itchy. And I was like, you know what, it's been worse. You know, because it has been. I was like, no, this is nothing, like it's nothing. And she goes, oh, worse, how? And I was like, well, it was like all over my face, all over my neck, my skin was falling off. And then she was like, oh, how did you get it good? Because she was staring at me like this, and she was like, well, whatever you're doing is really good, you should keep doing it. And I was like, yeah, I stopped my steroid creams. And she gave me a funny look, like as if to say, why would you do that? When you're taking your blood pressure, you've got to sit really still. You shouldn't be talking because that elevates your blood pressure. So as she was taking it, when she saw the reading, it was quite high. So she was like, oh, no, we've got to do that again because we were talking. Let's not talk this time. Hold on. And like, I couldn't finish what I was saying. I couldn't explain any further that like my skin became addicted and I stopped. And since I've stopped, my skin got better. I couldn't. I have thought about making an appointment with my doctor and just showing him my skin, but as I've said in like previous videos, I don't have a good relationship with my doctor. I don't feel he listens to me. I don't think he cares, to be honest. I've been with him for the best part of 10 years, and anything to do with my skin, he's very dismissive. I don't know if I'd want to sit in his chair and look him in the eye and say, everything you've ever told me about steroids is wrong, and I went against everything that you said, and suddenly my skin is like so much better, just because I think he wouldn't listen to me. I don't think, even looking at me, and even with me like showing him pictures on my phone, I don't think he'd listen, that's just the impression that I get, because the amount of times I've told him that certain creams do not work, these creams burn, and I need to see a specialist, he never ever listened to me, ever. So yeah, I just have a bit of a distrust with my doctor. The last time he saw me, I was 3 days into withdrawal. I remember it was a Wednesday, and I stopped my creams on the Sunday. That was the last time I applied, and the first thing he wanted to give me was more steroids. So it's just like, if there's ever going to be a change in the way that steroids are prescribed and how we see eczema, it's got to start with the GPs, because that's the first place you go to when you have a skin complaint. But yeah, sorry, this isn't really a skin update, because my skin is exactly the same as last month and the month before. It's the same. Also, I did go to a TSW meetup this month as well, and I've also invited Cassandra to the next meetup, and she's down for it. So the community is growing. So if you live in London and you have really bad eczema, or you're going through TSW, please join the Facebook group and come join us. You won't regret it. We're really nice people. Me, not so much right now, but I am a nice person. I'll leave the link to the group in the description box. Please click on it, please join, and please join our family. But that's all I've got to say for this update, and I promise to put out some videos this month, because I'm going to get on this editing. I'm not going to procrastinate no more. I will promise to put out at least 2 videos this month before my next update. That is a promise. So I'll see you in the next update, and hope everyone has an itch-free day. Bye. Enjoy.